We're very happy to have with us this evening Jameson Scott. And Jameson
Welcome. Thanks.
is a local resident as well as has a local business. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your business and then you could start your presentation. What business you have in town. And
sure, our company is Air Handling Systems. We've been here since 1990, so I've been a business resident of the community for 27 years now this month, and I've been a resident for the last 6 years now. So I'm happy to be here and chairing the wayfinding task force, I guess we'll call it, since last September.
can you explain what the wayfinding task force is?
So
and why it was set up?
Part of my understanding is through the Yale Urban Design Workshop study through the Economic Development Commission, there was a lot of different aspects that were addressed, and improving the wayfinding was one of those. Wayfinding being the proper signage that we have to help welcome and direct people throughout the community. And so through EDC, we sort of pushed to say, we really should move this project forward. The thing is that, and the reason, I guess I should say, we want to push through this project forward is we had some steep grant money left through, once the sidewalks were finished over the Lucy Street area. And so we were able to use that steep grant funding to fund this project, which now puts in place the proposal for the wayfinding. So if and when this funding is available, the community already has a plan. We don't have to figure out what we want to do. We've already done that. So it started with the meetings back in September. We went to the public through ADC meeting. We went on public display over at the library to get feedback. I believe some emails were circulated. We've been to the selectmen twice. So what we've done is got community feedback in putting this together. So it was not just our small little group, but we went out to the community to solicit feedback as we've been progressing through. To get to where we are this evening, the last presentation was at the selectmen, I think last week. We brought this to the selectmen, and it was very positive. The comments that, my understanding, the comments were very positive. So we'll have one more meeting to wrap up our commission, our task force, and then we're going to turn it over to the selectmen at that point.
Okay. So
you want me to?
yeah, why don't you explain?
So please, since we're this is a small group
Basically,
here.
it's a small group. It's informal. Please. Yeah.
So if there's any questions, just stop me along the way, please. Well, we have two different things here. We have one which is the actual wayfinding itself. The actual, we started with several different versions. This is the one we've narrowed it down to. And then we have the actual locations of where the potential signs are. Again, because this came out of the steep grant funding, which was specifically for the business district, the focus has been in the business district, also known as the Woodbridge Village District, or in some cases West Rock Commons or East Village. So there's different names there, but that is not set in stone. That's up for the selectmen to figure out what they want to actually name this. So they're actually just placeholders. So looking at the map, we've looked at all the entryway points. All the entryway points to our community have different signs right now. Every one you come into has a different sign, a different style, a different design. Really, this is to make people feel more welcome, present some form of uniformity with the actual messaging that we're presenting. So while we have this area shaded here, which is the business district, which has been the primary focus of where signs will go, and we've actually had meetings where we've walked some of this property. We have looked out at the areas such as the town center to say if and when there's funding available for the town center to improve signs, they can do that. And again, the key entryway points throughout the community. So, for example, if the rec department happens to be replacing a sign, we'd like them to be able to at least consider this. So that's why we're going to the different commissions saying, okay, we have this wayfinding plan, let's not just go replace an old sign that used to look the way it looked, but let's start putting some uniformity throughout the community, because we don't have funding for the actual signs, but if there's going to be replacement of sign, let's look to the plan that we have here. So we've got different signs. We have the gateway sign, we have the primary town, well, two different gateway signs, I'm sorry. This gateway sign is specifically for exit 59, the big entry point to our community. As I mentioned, there's people that come to our community, and what I'm learning through EDC is people come to our community for different businesses. We've got the brewery, for example. When the brewery had a local tap opening a couple weeks ago, the line stretched down the street, down over into the New Haven border. And I said, where's the farthest person that came from? This was on a Wednesday night about a month ago. Farthest person came from Pennsylvania to come to Woodbridge on a Wednesday night. And so, I believe passionately that we need to let people know that they're in Woodbridge, that they're here, and that they feel welcome, and there's ways to navigate our community. And when I mention navigate specifically, that is in reference to over on Merritt. I don't know if you've seen Merritt lately, but there's some issues over at Merritt where GPSs take people who want to get over to the soccer complex and they take them down Merritt. Merritt being the residential neighborhood, the folks aren't very happy that there's a lot of excess traffic coming through their neighborhood. The reason GPSs are doing that is because there is that road that goes through from Merritt over to the corporate area, but there's a gate up. So the people there put their own sign up. It just went up about a month or so ago, and there's a handmade sign that says stop here, turn around, turn right, turn left. So we want to address those sort of things with district directional signs. So we have welcoming signs, we have secondary signs, and then we have vehicle directional signs, which help once you get within the community after we've welcomed you to help you navigate around town to something like this, which is known as the West Rock Commons map. That's where I am. I'm over at Lunar Drive. That's now called the Woodbridge Commercial Park. We've got about 50 businesses in there or so, and there's one sign that was donated by one of our fellow businesses about 20 years ago. But again, no consistent, no same uniformity or anything. This sign can be modified to address that. The company that we brought in, we went through the process of looking through various proposals. We narrowed it down to a group CR3 along with a sign company. So CR3 is the company that made the actual wayfinding signs for us and tweaked them, and the Laurentano sign group is along as part of this because they're giving us very good budget numbers, so we have an idea. It doesn't mean we're certainly not going to go with them necessarily. They'll potentially be part of the bidding process.
What are the signs made out of?
They are PVC type material, so they're definitely going to last a long. Yes, maintenance free. We've spent a lot of time talking about that. DOT regs, making sure that they meet DOT regs, snow levels, so that if they're on any of the main 63 or 69 with the snow level,
the snow doesn't go in front of it.
And they meet DOT regs at this point, at least regs, standards. They've consulted the DOT stuff. That was part of our actual site visit. Laura was part of our site visit and one of our meetings happened to be over at the brewery where we actually looked up and down. At that point, that was Route 63, and then we went over to 69 as well at another site visit to actually figure out where these signs can go to help navigate some of the traffic that comes through. They're designed so, again, at the right heights, they can be seen by cars. They, I believe, definitely have the breakaway points that the DOT requires. This sign here is approximately a $25,000 sign down to
I know.
signs such as this is in the $5,000 to $7,000 range. So it's certainly not a cheap proposal. What we've done is we've taken it into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the primary main signs that you see, but does not necessarily need to be done in that order because the Exit 59 Gateway sign, we know in 2018 they're going to be redoing from roughly Lucy on down to New Haven, past the New Haven line there. So there's going to be a lot of road work done. So we don't want to go and put a sign up and then find out that it's going to come down because of road work. We also know that New Haven is also doing wayfinding right now at the exact same time. So if you come down the exit 59, you'll see the nice New Haven sign that's there. There's very, very little space for Woodbridge signs. So Betsy's been in communication with New Haven so we can hopefully coordinate. If they're going to be doing wayfinding at the same time that we're going to be doing wayfinding, let's try to at least coordinate our efforts to make sure that we're not on top of each other necessarily. Right. But we spent a lot of time in that area trying to figure out where to put signs. We did not come up with any clear-cut, conclusive, great spot. So what I'm recommending is that we don't let that hold us up from putting up other signs. Again, over by the brewery where the town line is there. We could start with some of the other smaller secondary town gateway signs, which are a much better price point and serve the same purpose.
So the biggest one is, what you say, 25,000?
That's
roughly.
Exactly.
What's the next one down? the one to the right of it?
This one's, I'm gonna guess, probably in the, 20,000, and these are probably the 12 to 15 range. They've been very vague on the pricing. I asked them to update that stuff, and they didn't, so I'm going off of pricing that they gave us a long time ago.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in the look and feel, the feel of Woodbridge. What is Woodbridge? What does Woodbridge mean to us? It's colonial, it's an old 1700s, we were established in 1700s, but we, we're a farming community. We don't want to lose that sort of feel that we have, the New England arbor style here. So we definitely looked at all sorts of wayfinding throughout the country and narrowed it down to something that sort of fits our community feeling, right down to the font sizes, to make sure the font sizes are right, to make sure that it's visible from a distance. This here is a placeholder. There's a circle there that is for potential future use of a town logo. Our logo that we have on the flag there is very, very busy and would get lost in something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just suggesting just a placeholder for now. That's for another task
Yeah,
force.
there's not much difference in size between the two top ones, only half a foot, really, 7 inches difference.
Yes, they're, this one, 7, exactly. What were you looking at?
I'm looking
Oh,
at it.
okay. You found it online.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So this one originally was designed as to be an angle, 2 of them on an angle.
Yeah.
So if you were coming down 59, it would be an angle. Am I describing that the right
Yeah.
way?
Yeah.
Sort of 2 signs. So that was the thought behind a special type of sign here. This one could go on the other side. This, we do have a key here which sort of starts designating exactly where the different signs go. Again, different entryway points throughout the entire town, but the primary focus has been down here in the Village District. What they've done is they've given us a lot of options, which is nice. So they're saying, this sign here, for example, the West Rock Commons map, I said, well, that's only 4 feet wide. The one that's there today is about 8 feet wide. And they said, well, that's can easily be modified, and that's why they designed it like this. So any of these signs can easily be tweaked. Ones like this, potential for use where it doesn't interfere too much with pedestrian traffic, it's going to be sort of challenging in certain areas. This one is designed so you could walk underneath it, and it's a little bit higher, but then when we looked over by Crest, for example, there's all trees there. We have trees lining that whole area, so it's very hard to find a location where that can be. The other thing about the district directional sign is the banners, and the banners are something that we've been discussing as a potential option for funding, if the town was interested in that, and that's what we're going to talk about at our next meeting, or our last meeting, is how Orange is doing, how other communities are putting up banners to have sponsorship opportunities. We don't want it to be, quite frankly, a tacky thing. We want it to be something that's, again, welcoming possibly town messages that have supported by messages. I think Laura even mentioned like PBS. And how it's supported by, public broadcasting, supported by different organizations. So we're talking about lots of different things, right on down to the trailhead and landmark signs there, which that's part of phase 3, which can be used at different landmarks throughout our community. And it is accessible, as you found online there, the report. I'm not sure which one. That was the other place where you had it out. Oh, you did send it out. Okay, okay, great, okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then the colors, you want to talk about the colors we chose? Or?
We've spent lots of time. Let me see if there's one more close up. The colors.
Probably.
the green is
It's
green, just
it's a
green,
light.
dark green,
Yeah.
Again, trying to be representative of our community. Something that looks good visually from far away. Looks good at a normal speed that a car would be traversing through an area. We have to make sure it's legible. We went back and forth, dark green on a light background, light green on a dark background. We looked at white, we looked at all different colors. We basically came down to this. What was nice is when we had our meeting down at the brewery, and we happened to have our meeting there simply because it gave us a place where we could be on site right where these potential signs are going to be going. And we could look at all the other signs that are right in that immediate area. What's the competition? How much other visual signage is there that we're going to be competing against? State signs are green with white lettering. So we didn't want to look like a state sign and be a dark green sign with white lettering. So that's one of the reasons with the reverse approach, is having the dark lettering on a light green background. So this one shows it a little bit nicer, that district directional sign, or a little bit bigger there. Again, this could be ideally located in a place over by Merritt to help people now navigate and know that there are sports complexes and fields going straight. Don't turn down Merritt, don't go down to the residential neighborhood, go straight, and at Bradley have another sign directing people over into that area. The folks that have put this together really are emphasizing the importance of designating areas throughout our community, being a West Village and East Village or West Rock Commons. Again, that's not something we're going to do. With you folks here working on the town-owned properties, you might have some input, some thoughts on that. Some of these signs could potentially be used on, again, some of the town-owned properties, if and when funding is available. So that's what I'm looking at, saying we don't necessarily need the $100,000 grant because we're pretty convinced that steep grant funding's dried up these days. But I think Betsy's doing a nice job looking more broadly. What other sort of funding sources are there out there? What other sort of grants are out there that could potentially help us fund this? But again, if one of the town properties is going to be replacing a sign or putting up a new sign and funding is already available, we essentially have a template to use at this point.
No,
Smart.
great
Speaking
work.
of funding, I was just thinking, I was at the Board of Selectmen meeting last week when you guys presented. You did a great job. And I think you brought up maybe with some of the signs emphasizing the business district. Would it make sense to go to the local businesses and see if they could, potentially donate towards a sign, at least for phase one, that just focuses on like the
There's
industrial
different
center?
ideas. On EDC, we're talking about that. Is there a way to do that? The sign, for example, at the bottom of exit 59, there's a welcome to Greater New Haven region or something like that, sponsored by Caldwell Banker, I believe. Sign's falling apart. It's not looking so great, but Orange does a nice job when you get off any of the exit ramps off the Parkway in Orange. They've got nice signs. They're sort of beautification projects. So at least through EDC, we've talked about that. Through this group, through our commission here, we're not specifically tasked with that exact thing of finding funding sources, but that's why, I think it's, at least on the banner side, trying to say, okay, well, let's get creative. Are there ways that we can do that? Are there ways, because I mentioned the sign that's there again in where I am over at Bradley and South Bradley intersection. That was one of our local businesses. He paid for the whole thing. He just donated it.
Wow.
Because there were so many people getting confused and lost between South Bradley and Bradley and Research and Lunar. He just popped the sign up. Well, obviously, he didn't just pop it up, went to the town, worked with the town, got the space and everything. But even the location of that we talked about, because in order to read that sign, and I see this because I've only been driving by there 27 years, people have to creep out into the middle of, they have to go through the stop sign and creep out into the middle of South Bradley interchange to see it visually.
Yeah.
So we're thinking, well, maybe the sign needs to go to the right next to the stop sign, so when you're at the stop sign, you can actually see the map. But that presents some challenges. So it's not the easiest thing to solve, but I think we need to be creative in finding funding
One sign
sources,
at a time, right?
absolutely.
Right.
And we don't want to also, to your point, is we also don't want to put business names on it, so we have to be careful. We're
Sure.
saying
You have to
sports
constantly update it.
complexes. We want people to stop driving through Merritt through a residential neighborhood to get over to Everson soccer, but we can't say Everson soccer straight ahead,
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that the town's dealing with all these signs that are popping up all over the place, and the A-frames and that sort of thing. So, that was another
The clutter.
flaw.
Have there been
This sort of thing.
any studies ever done? Because, like I said, the GPS takes them a certain way. Do people really look at the signs, or are they too busy paying attention to their GPS?
Well, of course, the sign people are going to tell you, the
That they pay
consultants,
attention.
that they pay attention
Yeah.
to the signs, and that
Yeah.
the signs will definitely help that sort of thing. I can't say that I've read any
Right.
studies that'll say that, other than that's what they said.
Well, I
Signs would
listen
help
to my
that.
GPS, but then at the same time, I look for a
You look
sign.
for signs.
Yeah, I do look for a
Yeah.
sign.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially also with the athletic complexes down there, our kids play sports, and when people are coming from other towns, there's no way to
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
baseball field or Everson. It's very unclear, and you could tell the ones who are out of town because they're paused and they're looking.
But there are also businesses that bring people here to our community.
Yeah,
How
sure.
many people come from out of town to come to Everson or come to Tennis Central? Or I mentioned the brewery. There's other businesses that people actually come from out of town. I think that's great. I think that's what we need to do, is make them feel welcome.
The vineyard,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as well as the community feeling here within
Yeah.
Woodbridge, saying, we do welcome people. We want people to feel welcome within our community. So there was a lot of thought. I mean, please, Laura,
Yes.
add,
No, you did a great job, putting it all together, and it's a great committee to be on, and a lot of work has been done with your leadership. So we thank you very much for coming this evening and to presenting to us. Any other thoughts?
No,
Yeah.
that's it.
No,
It
it's
was nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's important for us to know, to be aware of what's happening. And I think it's also a good way for us to clean up all the clutter. I just have an issue with all these signs are all over town. And, it's just, I think it's important to look at the signs and have a plan in place so that when we're looking to replace a sign, we know what to do.
Right. Well, I think
It's-
it's also
it's-
important you brought up the names for the different areas.
Right.
I had never heard of the West Rock region
Right.
of Woodbridge, so I mean that might be something that the town needs to also
Well, the
figure
town-
out what
yes,
are
yes, the town needs to decide what these
Sections
names
And
are.
that,
are-
that's what will
Yeah.
be up
Yeah,
to the selectmen
Right.
to be discussing in the future of, because again, the consultants are saying that helps people navigate
Sure.
an area like that.
Right.
The West Rock Commons, sort of stuck with us, but again, it's just a placeholder.
Just makes no
I've worked there a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
It is West Rock.
it is West Rock.
Right.
Everybody knows West Rock.
And it would, quite frankly, help this issue, for Tennis Central or for any of us that are in there saying we're in West Rock Commons. And then you see that sign,
Right,
West Rock
right.
Commons, I'm
Yeah,
going to go straight,
yeah,
I'm going to follow
right,
the signs to
right,
West Rock
yeah,
Commons,
yeah.
to get over.
It's a good
Because
landmark.
Woodbridge Commercial Park was the name that's there, only because that's what's there. Woodbridge Corporate Park is actually the old Lender Building, which is up the street over here.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody thinks of that as Woodbridge Corporate Park, and nobody thinks of where I am over here as Woodbridge Commercial Park. So it does get a little confusing. Anyway, any
No,
other
good
questions,
work,
comments?
really good work, and thank you for coming again this evening,
Sure, thanks for having me.
giving up your time,
Thanks for
and we really appreciate all the work you've done for the town.
You are welcome, and hopefully we'll see this come
Come
hopefully
to
we'll see
fruition.
A few
Yeah.
signs come up.
Sign business, good
Yes.
business to be in. to go places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Looking for
yeah.
Peace Place. We were
Yeah,
blown away when we
Yeah.
found the prices.
Yes, at the prices, right? You don't realize
All
how
right,
much.
thank you, good evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
one. Have a good one. Okay, so this meeting is not going to be very long, but we do have a quorum. Since
That's right.
Mike, I guess we could put in the minutes that Mike, right,
Mike,
has
yes.
resigned.
And I will be.
I know you will be resigning
You're
at
not
the end
allowed
of
to, Terry.
June.
I know. I think I have one more because
Yeah.
But
It's for a good reason.
we're gonna discuss. I think at our
Maybe you could be our liaison.
liaison. I was gonna put in my request
right.
for the
Yeah,
liaison.
because you
just
understand what we're supposed to do.
familiar with
Yeah,
what the
you're
projects
familiar with the projects and everything else. So our next meeting is Monday, June 19th, and I may not be available. So I will meet with Beth and, discuss maybe a possible agenda for the meeting. And so you'll take over for that
Yeah, I mean,
meeting?
we'll see if
Yeah.
Terry's gonna come and Mark's gonna come, and
Yep.
if we
Yeah,
have a quorum.
if you
not,
have
we'll
a
to
quorum.
reschedule.
Okay, that's
So.
fine. And then, we don't have anyone here this evening for public comments, so, and how about suggestions for the June 19th meeting?
Well,
What-
don't we still need to, the town center plan and everything to officially put our input on that? So that's still on our
The-
ongoing discussion,
That's still
I guess.
ongoing discussion. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, but
No.
yeah, it's gonna, and the firehouse.
Yeah, so I know that they're in the process of using the funds that they receive
The
from the
steep-
steep grant to
right.
just restore the building to make
Right.
it usable for whatever
Have- have to
the
spend
town
money.
decides.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought we were going to do another tour, get a layout of the other office spaces in the center building to
Okay.
figure out with
But we could do that. We could
what
get-
other options with the fitness center and recreation if they weren't able to move to a new building
Yeah.
within that area, because I think there was like talk about the big meeting room in there.
Right. Okay, I'll see if I could set up a tour of the rest of the center building so that you have a better idea of what the building looks like, the classrooms.
Yeah.
And I think there's a daycare center there.
Right. We were trying to figure out how much
That's a-
space
that's
is
a
actually
private-
available.
That's a private.
Right.
Because I think we saw the police department
We
and
saw
the
the-
senior center.
And the senior
Yeah.
center, right.
So-
And I think they use one of those classrooms for yoga. They're available for people if they need to use them. So we'll find out what they're used for. Okay, any other and new business?
I want to, not new business, still with old business. I want to say that was it the benches that
Yes.
weren't a part of the Fitzgerald? So the Board of Selectmen meeting, they did get the finalized draft that
Okay,
you
of the
did
benches?
of the community garden applications.
Okay,
And good job again on that.
thank you.
Everybody commented on how detailed it was and thorough, and with the stacks input as well. But I don't believe that we had any final information regarding the
The benches?
benches.
Okay, well, that was completed, and I did present it, so maybe I will check with Ellen
Okay.
and find out, what the status of that is.
Unless they just didn't discuss it.
Unless it wasn't
They were just
presented.
focused on
Yeah,
the
one
Fitzgerald
thing
Gardens.
Yeah, first, and then, present that at another time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll follow through
And
on
then
that.
at the public comment, somebody had a question regarding statues and memorials within the gardens. And I don't think that we
We didn't really address that?
didn't.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's something that the Woodbridge Community Garden Committee wants to decide, but I know that we were just focusing on the plots themselves
yeah, I mean,
and then
we
the
didn't.
benches.
We said we didn't want anything there that was permanent,
No permanent structures without
You
town
know,
approval.
so.
It's pretty wide open.
yeah.
Someone could bring in a big statue. Well,
Right.
It's not permanent.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
Secure to the ground.
Or like a mausoleum.
yeah.
Prefab.
Or, like a shed,
The shed, that was another thing that got brought up.
Yeah.
What do we do with structures that are
right.
there over the winter?
We said that, no structures.
No permanent structures,
You know,
staying
if
there.
whatever structures are there now, I think, again, let me discuss that with
Okay.
Ellen and with Beth, and we'll try to, move forward on that and put it on the agenda for the next time, okay?
Yep. That sounds
Anything
good.
else? That's it?
I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
All right, so
Perfect.
then I call the meeting, we end the meeting. I
That's fast.
propose that we end the meeting at 7:06.
I'll second.
Okay,
Good.
all right, very good.
All right.
Thank you very much. Good luck. And if I can help
And the dust clouds rolling as the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting, this land was made for you and